Natalia on Luxury with Natalia. I'm joined today by Jimmy Carroll, who is the Business Development Director of Pelorus in the UK. Now, a silly question is, how are you in these circumstances? Everybody's sort of like heads down, but how are you?
We're good. It's very strange times that we're living in, but you got to keep your head up and be positive in and amongst everything that's going on and around you, and especially when trying to run a business through this. I say we're very much on the front line, being in travel and the yachting world. But there's lots that we can be doing, and one of those key things is communicating with everyone, and still sharing our stories and talking. So there's lots to be done. But yeah, God, it's weird. What a strange world.
It is, and I like the fact that you mentioned that connectivity and communication point, because a lot of the companies that I've been faced with and working with have decided to go into a little bit of head in the sand mode and are afraid to maybe say something out to the world because it might be perceived as a negative. But at the same time, there's others who are very strong and powerful and going out there and spreading the seed of the message that, yes, we are still around. It's not like, yeah, we might be on pause mode, but what's your feelings about what's going on overall, especially in yachting and travel?
Yeah, we're particularly special that we operate in travel, land-based activity, but also then the yacht expeditions, and also bring them both together. So the hardest thing is trying to keep track of everything as it goes on right now, because you can make a decision today and by this afternoon it's completely blown apart by latest legislation, developments in the health system, you name it, or different countries becoming locked down. So we're always strategizing, looking at what we can do, but ultimately it's being there for our clients and for the industry. And there's still conversations to be had, and a lot of what we're doing actually is forward planning, and certainly when it comes to our yacht expeditions, the majority of them take a number of months to put together. If you're going to Antarctica, we're talking about that now for December, January next year, and even for 21, 22. So those conversations still happen, and people have got time on their hands as well, and we want to give them positivity and good things to look forward to, and that's really key. And I think that's where we're really lucky, and it's a special gift that we can share with people, and try and brighten them and lift them up.
That's right. Give them something to look forward to, because in these times it certainly is appropriate. And also your expertise. Now, your resume is quite impressive, and we've also done a bit of cycling together for the London to the So you're quite a keen adventure person, and I'd say you might be even the next Bear Grylls if we think about it correctly.
Steady on. Who knows where we go next? But yeah.
But what can you? What's been your number one key of advice in this situation that has been essential to you, leading a team and being part of a team?
Yeah, when Geordie, my business partner, and I set up Pelorus 2.5 years ago, we always knew as a business and starting a business, you're going to go through this amazing journey and have incredible highs and probably incredible lows as well, and you're not quite sure what's going to come at you next. That's part of the fun of starting a business, I suppose. But it's about having a team around you to get you through all of that, because it's no one individual that creates the highs. It's about the team there, and it's no one individual that's going to get you out of a low. I think we're really lucky at Pelorus. The team we've built around us has been incredible, and they all have different experience from different avenues of life. And certainly through this period, we're really key that every day we start with a video conference and check in to see how we're doing, and that's really important. And then ideas start to buzz and flow, and the creativity's there. So that's the key part, the teamwork between us. we work in travel, we work in yachts. We so many times we're in different parts of the world, be it from Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands earlier this year, at the end of last year for myself, or Geordie, who's just been in Socotra a couple of weeks ago. So we're remote naturally. So actually working from home doesn't change a huge amount. And even if it does, we still come together in that unity. And we even had team drinks on Friday night via video conference. And everyone had a drink and shared a few stories and closed off the week. And yeah, if you said that to me a couple of weeks ago, I think we all probably thought we're bonkers to have virtual drinks. But that's what it is.
I agree completely, and it's something that I don't know what's going on, but I'm in creative overdrive at the moment. I'm coming out with some pretty awesome ideas for some clients or potential clients. So this is the time to really go back and reflect on what you can do together as a team with each and everyone's skill sets, and take a step back. We have all that time on our hands. Okay, we're managing the situation for our clients, but a lot of time we're spending it alone and with our own thoughts, and then getting to brainstorm. Amazing. Well done. That's awesome. So maybe we could go into like your next or what you did in the past. You were an expedition manager for Extreme Everest 2. Tell us a bit more about that.
That was a really fascinating project, and it came about. I was leaving the army, having served just over 8 years in the army, and done a number of tours, one to Iraq and two to Afghanistan. And through that time, I've met a lot of people, and one of them happened to be a junior doctor who was doing his PhD study. And he was part of the lead researcher for Extreme Everest 2, which was the second expedition to Everest, and it was looking at intensive care research. And fortune kind of favors the brave, and I happened to be in the right place at the right time. And they were looking for someone who had kind of a military background, a bit of expedition leading, logistics they could get their head around, and then a bit of business development and sponsorship side to it. And so very luckily I was able to do that whilst seeing out my time in the army. And I was with Extreme Everest for a year, and we ended up going to Nepal for just over 4 months to do the expedition. But it involved shipping 14.5 tons of equipment from London that we prepared over 8 months and shipped out there. We had 62 doctors and professors all involved. And then 200 volunteers who did treks, and we tested on. And really, the whole ascent profile of going to Everest Base Camp is one of the best gradual profiles of an increase in altitude. And why do we go to Everest Base Camp? Well, essentially, it's because what the body goes through as it goes through that increase in altitude is exactly mimicking what a patient in intensive care is going through, and it's one of the best ways to test on them. Obviously, testing on intensive care patients is incredibly hard, if not impossible. So we go to altitude to do that. And I think now at this particular time, a lot of that research will be certainly coming out and being played through. We built three laboratories, one in Kathmandu itself, one at Nanchi Bazaar, and then one at Everest Base Camp, where I lived for just over 3 months. And essentially we had an operating theatre up there as well. And in that time, just at base camp, we took 16,500 samples of blood, sweat, even some tears. But a fascinating time. And I'm really pleased, having not come from a medical background, to have been able to kind of be part of that and understand what it took. And it gives you a lot more clarity on what people are going through now, especially the likes of our National Health Services and the fight they've got on their hands. So yeah, big respect to the doctors and nurses out there. They're putting in some hard graft and hard shifts, but trying to keep us all fit and well.
Wow, so that that's exactly what I thought this would be interesting to go into as well. You know, what are the survival techniques that they teach you, and that could be shared amongst our audience here, who are, well, not they never went into the army, or they never had the survival instinct kick in because they never had to. So, gosh, what do you look out for in these situations?
Well, ultimately, it does lead back to teamwork, and if you're in the army, it's you know, very, very rare that it's just you as an individual fighting for your life. You know, there have been cases throughout history, you hear of that, and some very brave men and women have gone and done that. But it's about the people to the left and right of you, and that's what they've always said in the army. You fight for the guys and girls to the left and right, and the same as when you're in extreme environments as well. You pull together as a team. You're living at altitude. It does degrade your body, and that's why you'll see people who are climbing Everest, and they really do waste away a hell of a lot. And that was a lot of the research. Why does body mass reduce so much, muscle mass reduce? And that's because at extreme altitudes, your body's fighting to sustain life. So you've got to work together as a team, and in order to still, you know, achieve your job and your daily routine, you've got to have structure and planning in there. And I was actually reading a fantastic article at the weekend from a submariner talking about isolation and how you have to have structure in your day, and goals and achievements, and that's everything from work, from downtime, trying to isolate yourself even in the home, so you at least have 30 minutes just to yourself. So exercise in there for a minimum of 25-30 minutes every day. And I think no better person to hear that from a submariner, because they are, you know, they spend months and months and months at sea, underneath the water in a very confined space, and so they probably got some of the best lessons to learn from.
Yeah, fantastic. Maybe that's something you should be doing as well, a little mini series of motivation for the day. How to keep your schedule and get going. But of course you do that with your team, and that's essential. And I see that you guys are so amazing in terms of keeping everyone together in your team and keeping going. So kudos to that. And I suppose that's what makes a good entrepreneur as well, is that, you know, we see how challenging it can get. We get ups, we get downs, but at the end of the day, we've got to keep going because we have no choice. So, and bringing the team in there to keep the boat floating is essential. So fantastic there. Oh God. And another thing I wanted to just ask you is, on a lighter note, what was the most amazing expedition you've done in the time that Pelorus has existed?
In the time that Pelorus has existed, I think it will probably be the most recent one, certainly from my side of things, of the Solomon Islands and Papua New Guinea. We used motor yacht Surrey for that expedition, and we had an amazing client who wanted to challenge us and really push us into wanting to achieve so much. And that's awesome, because you really go at it with a blank canvas, and you know, explore as many opportunities as possible, and design it with the client as well, and that's also the fun part. But being out there, it's an incredible part of the world. You know, it really is very remote. It takes an age to get to from the UK, but when you're there, you can understand why it's so special. Everything from the flora and fauna, the wildlife, and then, you know, the species of fish in the sea, and the corals, the turtles, the diving's incredible, and then through to tribal elements as well, and you know, the fire dance and the ritual fire dance in Papua New Guinea and things like that are pretty special. But also seeing the interaction between locals and their natural habitat. They've got a great understanding. I think it was really, really pleasing to see how their understanding of the natural environment is learning and growing, and there's a number of initiatives that they have to protect that. and the more of that we can encourage, the better. There are areas where they've been devastated by logging, but there's really strong action groups coming through now where they're trying to act against that and show a more sustainable way of living and providing livelihood. But also, when we did an initiative with in the Solomons with a coral planting initiative and regrowth, and that's incredibly important, and protecting the reef. So, and the clients are getting hands-on with that as well. And I think that's a big change. We're seeing a lot of that happen now, with clients wanting to become far more involved in the conservation element.
I think the world's breathing now. We're giving it a little bit of a space to get back to what it needs to be, because we've done so much damage. And I think in the long run, this is going to be a very good learning curve, not just for us as a humanity, but also as a community, that we need to look out for it, because the damage that has been done is absolutely irreversible.
Completely agree. And I really hope that we take this time, that we as humans reconnect with each other and families, and we invest that time in the families. And I think we may see quite a lot of change in working practices after this, and people really valuing their relationships, friendships, and those closest to them. Especially those who lose people, will really value that more than anyone. But hopefully as a community as well, and the community sense and spirit, certainly here in London where I live, has been amazing. And I hope for you, as Natalia especially, I'm lucky to have my wife with me. We might probably drive each other mad by the end of it, but hopefully not. But other people are living by themselves, and so the community becomes so important. And one thing we're looking at with Pelorus is, let's take that through and encourage people to really invest in their family and spending time away together, and then their understanding of the world and how fragile it is, and how much more grateful they are for the opportunity to be outside, to go for a walk, to be amongst nature. And I think that will change as well. And so all of those different dynamics hopefully have a more positive effect on the way we live our lives and the way we experience travel and expeditions.
Absolutely. So hopefully we'll get back into it, but I think we have quite a long road to go yet. So courage, as we say in French. And what would be the message you'd like to send out to our yachting community that we both are affiliated with? Of course, you're very much varied, but maybe for the yachting people, what would you say?
This is a time that we can be so creative, because we have time on our hands, and there's still a lot of work that's being done. But it allows us, as you said earlier, mentioned, to really go through and go through that list of stuff which just kept being pushed to the side, all the time. And we're probably full of great ideas. We just ran out of time to get it done. Reconnect with that. Reconnect with each other via video conferences, etc., like this. And again, those meetings which always got pushed as well because we ran out of time, actually give the time to invest in each other, and you'll never know what kind of creative ideas start to spawn from that, and look to a brighter future, and when we're all back together and meeting. And I think the likes of the shows, the Monaco yacht shows, the Fort Lauderdales, hopefully in the back end of the year, it could be 10 times better, because we've all valued that time. And I think that's the important part. But the creativity never stops. It doesn't matter where you are, so we can be creative. We can look and plan amazing expeditions, speak with designers, yards, brokers, and really start to put together some plans which could become far more exotic and exciting for the clients, and then when we come back together, we're on the best foot forward to strike.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that came across in all my interviews to date, is what is the biggest luxury? Time. And here we are, we have it now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, but that's an interesting word, and I think for luxury, mean to you, and what's our definition of it. I think people's definition of luxury will change considerably throughout this time now, and a lot of them, luxury will be having the common freedom of being able to step outside, and be alone sometimes, but also be with family. And so it really does start to morph into lots of different things as people take stock of where they are. And I think for us at Pelorus, luxury is having the ability to plan and execute the most amazing experience for our clients, to indulge in that with their friends and family. And if that's using yachts as a mode of transport to get around, which we firmly believe is probably one of the best, because you can go to so many remote areas which you wouldn't normally be able to get to, but also still have the very high levels of service and comfort that you would expect as well, but also to be able to create those memories. And that's what people hold on to, and that's what they live for now, is to be able to share and create those memories again.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for giving us that spark of motivation and some great advice for keeping going and the teamwork. So let's all connect and keep connected, and use FaceTime and Skype for the purpose of having face-to-face, because it's so much better. I mean, I'm here by myself and I'm just loving this connectivity. So thank you so much for coming,
Natalie. Yeah.
And good luck to you and the team, and we'll catch up real soon, I'm sure.
Definitely. Have a great day.
Thanks everyone for watching. This was another episode on Luxury with Natalia. More episodes coming up this week with some more amazing people, so keep tuned in. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.